Hey everybody, it is me, Knight, and as you may hear my voice right now, I have a sore throat. Coming down with a cold. It kind of got it started yesterday. Well, anyway, if you don't hear me very well, I'm very sorry. Also, you might hear me not talk as much. You may hear me cough. You may hear me, well, sound like this for the rest of the video. So I'm going to try to make this video as quick as possible, because I do have something to do later today. I have to get ready for. So right now, it's just a hassle with three things going on. But my throat just absolutely sucks right now. So I'm sorry if I sound really early off. I'm going to do my best for this video, this review of the new Lootcrate Dx right here. So let's get started. Try to make this as painless as possible for my throat. So yeah. Anyway, if I remember correctly, this was a horror-themed box, and it was kind of nice from what I've seen. Something that I was very interested in because it will go with one of my pictures of a John Carpenter movie, which, if you remember, that crate gave me a Escape from New York one. So there's an item that's called The Thing, from the movie The Thing, which is really, really nice. That's one of my dad's favorite horror movies, and because of that, it became one of my personal favorites. And I'm not much for horror, so let's get started. I just got this a few minutes ago. Mailman just dropped it off, so let's see what we got. I said a thing, and it's right there. I don't know if you noticed this little thing right here. This little picture, that's actually a part of the movie design, so it's really nice. Oh my god, when I first see it. The alien morphing scene. Oh my god. My dad would dig this. I so swear he would. It's sad that he died and he never get the chance to enjoy something like this, because this is something I would give him. It wouldn't be more personal for me. It would be personal for him, because he loved this movie. He loved a lot of John Carpenter movies in general. So yeah, this right here, this is basically his alley. If you don't know what this is, it's basically the alien doing his shape-shifting form. If you've never seen the movie, watch the John Carpenter version. Do not watch the remake that came out a few years ago, because that one sucks compared. Watch the one with Kurt Russell. This is what this comes from. So yeah, right off the bat, starting off really nice. Set that there. It's a sweatshirt? It is. Oh, I see. It's a sweatshirt, pullover sweatshirt, that is a reference to not only the movie Scream, but the painting, The Scream. I like it. I dig it. I don't know if I'll ever wear it. I might for Halloween. Who knows if it fits? Hopefully it will. But yeah, that is really, really nice. I see something in here that's got me interested in it, because maybe a full moon. Oh, I'll see that momentarily. We got an Ash vs. Evil Dead chainsaw power bank. Is that anything I need to know? Something. Ah, here's a charge. So it's chainsaw of obvious reasons, but this is power bank. Is it? Oh, let me guess. It's for like a phone. Yeah, I guess so. Supposedly it makes sounds, I'm guessing. USB charger. Yeah, it's just a USB charger. That's really nice. I don't see a point of having it where I have a whole bunch of electronics. So I don't really need too much of a charge bank. But you know what? I miss Evil Dead with Ash being the main character. This Ash Not not that other remake bullshit. If it would let us stay, it'd be nice. Um, so we got a mug, and the reason I know it's a mug is because it blatantly fucking tells me. Dweller zombie. I imagine this is Walking Dead themed. It is a pain in the ass to get out. I need my knife. Let's see what it looks like. That's styrofoam. What the fuck? Okay, so at first, it's like just a normal mug, you know? Really nice design, and then you got this thing inside. You know, first off, this is a giant fucking mug. I don't think I'll ever use. Mugs do not need to be this fucking big. Unless you got soup in the damn thing. That's the first thing. Second thing is, what the fuck? I'm sorry, but that would freak out my grandfather, who drinks coffee and shit like that, if he were to drink out of that. He wouldn't drink out of that, I guarantee you that. But if he were, what the fuck? um, oh, Pinhead. If you don't know who this character is, watch Hellraiser. You'll know then. Yes, I know a lot of my freaking horror movies from the 80s. Like my dad. So, we have something. That's what I think it is. Yes, it is. Okay, so this is called Delirium. I'm not sure if it's just a comic or it's just a book. It's like a magazine. Okay, so it's a magazine made by Full Moon Entertainment. If you don't know who Full Moon Entertainment is, you probably have seen their movies, but never heard of the group people that were behind it. So these guys did a lot of sci-fi movies back in the day, specifically like Demonic Toys, Shrunken Heads, Killjoy, stuff like that. But they did have one that is my personal favorite of movies franchises, which is called Puppet Master. And it's a weird movie about these puppets that can kill, made by this guy who I don't think he was Jewish per se, but I think he was being chased by Nazis back in World War II. And he created these puppets by hand to be entertainment for children. And these Nazis, and specifically a Gestapo agent, killed his wife. So in turn, he made the puppets become. He had already made them come to life. He was very. He was interesting. Like he could magically make them come to life and do his bidding. And his wife dies by getting shot by the Nazis. And I believe the puppet master's name was Too Long. I can't remember. It's been a while since I watched the film. And he basically created, put her essence or her soul into a puppet that he created called Leech Woman. So Leech Woman's special ability was that she could puke out leeches. Don't ask me why. He just gave her that ability. But the Puppet Master stuff had there was Blade, which was made after the actual Gestapo guy, and Blade was my favorite character. It basically wears black suit, black hat, looks like a Gestapo agent, but has a hook for one hand and a blade, like a knife for another, a very razor sharp knife, and that's his whole gimmick. And he shoots like spikes out of his eyes. He was like the coolest character. Then you had Drill Head or something like that. He basically had a fucking drill on his head. The There was Six Shooter, which was a six-arm cowboy. You had Pinhead, which different, not him. Pinhead in this movie was basically this brute force guy. Like in the movies, you could actually see it was an actor's hands and arms, but it was basically this giant fucking doll with a very small head. That's why they called him Pinhead. Then there's Dr. Death, and there's various other characters in this movie series that I kind of fell in love with the genre because, weirdly enough, they're not the bad guy. They're just being controlled by the actual bad guy. The first movie kind of does it. Second movie, they made too long a bad guy in the sense that he wants an actual body. So, because he turned himself into a puppet. Don't ask me how. Third movie, you kind of see that Tu Long was really a good guy this whole time. Fourth movie continues off that. Same with the fifth one. And they've kind of going with the franchise. It's a really great franchise. Although it's gotten down to the point where it's not as good as it was. I watched these movies, 2010. That's the last time I've seen them. And they were great. They were just fantastic. So, like, if you've never seen Puppet Master vs. Demonic Toys, which is a Christmas horror movie with Corey Feldman, then that one's very campy, and that's really, really bad in terms of movie. It got stupid. It really got stupid. I watched it on the Sci-Fi Channel one time, and I was like, this is dumb. It's very dumb. But they're getting back to their old ways where they're talking about how the Nazis and everything. So they're kind of redoing Tu Long's story and continue off what the main plot point of these things are. And they found an American as the axis of evil is basically what they call it. So, yeah, I'd give it a watch. At least give the first 3 movies a watch. Fourth one, you could probably pass up on. But at least the first 3, because the first 3 are really good. So, yeah. That's basically who made this magazine. And if you don't know how I know that, it's because at the top it says Full Moon. Plus, it also helps that the back shows all the movies that they made. So yeah, give it a try if you haven't seen it. If you have, you're one of the lucky few. I watched that shit when I was a kid. Specifically, Puppet Master. And as a kid, especially when the height of it was Child's Play, being a movie that really scared me, it did have its scares for me because it was puppets, and they're about the same size as a Chucky doll, or smaller. So, imagination ran wild. But as you get an adult, you learn to appreciate it. The only movie I still don't appreciate is Child's Play. I think it's kind of gotten dumb over years. It really hasn't aged well. But honestly, the voice actor who played Chucky, Brad Dourif, goddamn. Great guy. Great goddamn guy on that. So, yeah, we're moving on from that. Sorry, I kind of fanboyed on this. I'm sorry. Lastly, we have usually a print every time we get one. This time it is Evil Dead 2. We have Ash, Bruce Campbell, right there, with his chainsaw arm and everything. So it's a sequel. It's not too bad. I actually like this print. You know, it's nice artistic abilities and everything. And we got the brochure here. And as I said, because I gotta find a place to put these 2 particular items, I'll show you the inside of the box. Like I said, that is the front cover to the movie of The Thing. Now, how I know that? I actually still have the VHS copy. Yes. Back when VHSs were still a thing. I still have a whole lot of VHSs of Disney movies, too. Put this stuff away real quick. I don't know what I'm going to do with the zombie mug. I'll probably give it to a friend who would more appreciate it. They don't probably drink coffee, but I do know my friend Rob is a big Walking Dead fan. So he might actually enjoy something like this. I don't personally need it. I don't drink coffee. The mugs I use are about this size. You can see this is a BBC one, and this is for the Alka-Seltzer. I use a heated type of powder where it's almost like a tea. It's good for my throat. And that's the only time I ever use them. I only use them when I'm ill. Um, so yeah, there's that. We'll put that there. Let's see. Was there anything else here? Walking Dead exclusive zombie mug. John Carpenter's The Thing. Statuette. Evil Dead 2 variant print. Scream fleece sweater. The magazine, and then of course the power bank replica of the chainsaw. So yeah, hail to the king, baby. Overall, what do I give this? Well, I'm gonna keep this short shirt out. I give this an fuck. So here's the thing. I'm not much for horror. I really am not. There are specific movies I like, but I'm not a big horror fan. In fact, I don't like the Saw movies. I don't like The Exorcist. There's other reasons for that. I'm not a big fan of Jaws. I'm not a big fan of Alien, even though I do love the movies afterwards. Now, let me be specific. The first movie, I don't like. Which is almost heresy when you think about it. But I love Aliens, and I loved Resurrection. The reason I liked Resurrection is because it came around a time when I was really into movies. I know it wasn't the greatest film, but it was okay for what it had. I like the idea. But yeah, I'm not too big of that franchise. And then, of course, I liked Alien vs. Predator. Now, I know it's a bad movie, but I went in knowing that. I just wanted to see the fight scenes. That was really it. It was straight up an action movie. They turned Alien into an action film, not a horror film anymore. Same with Predator. So, one of my favorite horror movies, which oddly enough, you wouldn't think is a horror movie, and that's Wizard of Oz. I grew up watching that with my mom. And so, yeah, I'm not a big fan of horror films at all. Like, straight up, I don't care about Halloween as much. And that's, a lot of people love Halloween. I'm not a big fan of Halloween. I don't like a lot of horror stuff. I typically stay away. My favorite horror film of all time is actually also a Christmas film, which is Nightmare Before Christmas. And that's pretty much where it goes. It doesn't go any further than that. The fact that I do like The Thing is because of my dad. The fact that I like Escape from New York was, again, because of my dad. My dad was big into horror films. He loved The Exorcist. And he got the unrated, uncut edition, which, no, I can't watch it. I just legitimately can't watch it. But, yeah, just horror films in general, I cannot really sit down and watch and enjoy. Now, it doesn't mean I don't like horror. It doesn't mean I don't appreciate what it's done for the genre. But horror nowadays is not horror. Like, you had the found footage stuff like Paranormal Activity and, of course, Blair Witch. And that stuff has psychological horror in it, but it's not as good as The Exorcist was. You know, The Exorcist psychological horror is the one that gets into your mind, and you have nightmares weeks after. I had that case happen to me with that movie. Slasher horror films are kind of a disgrace. At the time they were, because they were too actiony and not enough horror into them. Like, the only good slasher horror film I still say is the John Carpenter. No, or was it? No, it's John Carpenter. It had to be him. Halloween franchise with Michael Myers, because Wes Craven made Nightmare on Elm Street, which you could kind of pass, I guess. But these movies are mainly known for slasher, especially Friday the 13th. They're not bad franchises. I can see the appeal with them, but they did kind of kill what horror really was. Fan favorites, yes, but they weren't as good as, like, The Thing was. They weren't as good as Halloween was. Because Halloween was a slasher film but it was a stalker psychological film too. It had both elements of what a horror film should be. And we had slasher films even before then. But like I said, psychological horror is much better and done much better than slasher will ever be. Slasher is almost boring nowadays. That being said, my favorite slasher film is the Halloween franchise, both 1 and 2. And that's the Jamie Lee Curtis one. Anything after that, like, I can't watch very well. I just kind of get bored of it. There's also the 20th anniversary one, which is H2O, Halloween 20. So you have to understand, like, I'm a big guy for suspense. I'm a big guy for psychological, but I don't watch a lot of that stuff anymore because I can't tolerate it. And the biggest reason why I know this now is because I can't watch The Exorcist. The Exorcist from the 60s with Linda Blair. I remember being able to see it when I was a toddler, when I wasn't understanding what the whole premise was about, how it's scary or anything. Because when you're about 4 or 5 years old, you're watching a movie, the thing that scares you the most in that time, which was early 90s, really was dolls or action figures or puppets or something like that, like Chucky, Child's Play. It makes sense for a kid to be scared of that. When you're watching The Exorcist, you have no understanding what the whole premise of what is scary in that film. You look at the face, yeah, it freaks you the fuck out, but you know, you don't understand what it is. And I could sit through it when I was 4 or 5 years old. Hell, I think I remember watching some of the scenes when I was 3. That being said, around 9 years old, getting to see it for the first time in about 5 years, one night with my dad, and I'm no farther than I am from my computer screen right now, which is about 2 feet. Seeing the unrated version of that movie put nightmares so bad my dad realized he done fucked up. It was so horrific for me to watch that I cannot see it to this day through its entirety. It is one of the scariest films I've ever seen, and it deserves to be number 1 on any list out there. That being said, I understand that like a few years ago, there was a 101 list made by Bravo Entertainment, which is a TV channel. My dad and I watched that 100, and he agreed with that list on who was the top 3. Top 3 went as goes, starting from the bottom up. Number 3 was The Exorcist. Number 2 was Alien. Number 1 was Jaws. Now, I asked him why he felt that was agreed. He said, The Exorcist hits psychologically, and you know all about that. That's what he told me. Alien is still far-fetched enough that it can't reach number 1, but was done better because in space no one can hear you scream. That was the first part. The second thing is it had everything that The Exorcist had. The psychological horror, the unexpectedness, the suspense. It had everything The Exorcist could dish out, and therefore it was just slightly better because it felt like Halloween as well. It had that stalker alien. You didn't know where it was. You could not see it. Stuff like that. And then the reason why he said Jaws was number 1 is because it was realistic. And when he said that, and I went, yeah, you're good fucking point. I mean, that's more realistic than The Exorcist is. You can get killed by a shark. You can get bitten in half by a shark, a great white shark. You can die legitimately from a shark. So he is correct in that suspense, and it did have some psychological effect on those crewmen and on that boat on that movie. It did have some psychological suspense to it. So he agreed with the list, and after I thought about it, it's like, yeah, but out of the 3, I could sit through Alien, and I could sit through Jaws. I cannot sit through Exorcist. So in my book, The Exorcist is much more scarier. I could watch through the found footage stuff, and I think out of the two major movie franchises that use found footage, which is the Blair Witch Project and Paranormal Activity, Paranormal Activity is better. I think it's done better for psychological horror. Does that mean I think it's a better franchise overall? No, I think there isn't any real horror franchise that's better than any other. Um, I think Halloween is probably the best because it's dished out the best style movie franchise. It's better than Nightmare on Elm Street. It's better than Friday the 13th. And I know I'll get a lot of fanboys of those ones saying, no, it isn't. Um, but the reason I think it's better is because I think it did it better than than they could ever do. Now, given Elm Street could do it, it's just that it got stupid goofy at later stages, whereas Halloween stayed true to what it was. You can even say Friday the 13th was stayed true to what it was, but it got goofy as well. They started taking Jason Voorhees to different places where he didn't belong, like Jason Voorhees invades Manhattan, Friday the 13th in Manhattan. Really, you know. Whereas Halloween, it stayed true to what it was. It didn't try to change the formula outside of Season of the Witch, which had nothing to do with Michael Myers. So yeah, it was. It's just a better franchise for the slashers, and I think it was overall done better. That being said, out of all the other horror franchises that could match up to it, it'd probably be Evil Dead, but it got goofy with Army of the Dead. And it's just become a cult classic. And all these movies are. So, what do I give this? I give this a 9. And the reason I give it a 9 is because The Walking Dead. I'm not a fan of Walking Dead. I just really am not. I cannot stand that zombie stuff. I know zombies are a big thing right now. I understand that. But zombies are kind of getting boring to me. If you haven't noticed, I have not posted up a Left 4 Dead playthrough or review in about a couple years now. And a lot of that has to do with me. It has to do with Keo. It has to do with Dread. It has to do with Meta. Where that game has gotten so boring, there is no scare factor. We've done some really good stuff off that, but it's no longer a good game to us anymore. We've played so much of it that it's become boring. And in turn, anything that deals with zombies have become boring. The last good zombie thing that I've seen in terms of a movie or video game or TV show was Zombieland. And the reason why I like Zombieland is because it took it and made it a dark comedy. You know, it's really hard to take a zombie film that is supposed to be very horrifying and then find out, oh, it's a dark comedy. And I know they're making a second movie, which I'll probably go see. But I'm not a big fan of zombies. I never liked zombie movies. Sorry to George Romero. I know you make some great ones. I've seen some of your great ones. But it just got boring. It just flat out got boring at this point. And it's been oversaturating the market. There's so many games out there that are zombie games. Not just to mention that there's movies out there, constant movies that have zombies in one way or another. So that's why I don't like Walking Dead, because it continues this kind of boring style franchise. Now, I'm not saying that Walking Dead is bad. I just find it boring. I don't like zombie stuff anymore. It's as for me, I'm moving on from that franchise stuff. Like, I can't wait for the next zombie game from Valve to be like Left 4 Dead 3. I can't wait for it. But until it comes out, I don't really care. You know? Because once Left 4 Dead 3 comes out, if it ever does, because this is Valve we're talking about, I will definitely play it. I will play it with Keo if he gets it. I will play it with Dread if he gets it. I will play with Meta if he gets it. But until it comes out, I ain't playing a Left 4 Dead game for a while. Now, that doesn't mean I don't have the itch to play it. It is fun. It's a good game, but it's still boring in a sense. So that being said, this will be the first 9 I ever gave it, and it involves just the zombie mug. It is kind of a dumb mug if you look at it. It's too big. It's like 3 times the size of this. So no one's really going to use that outside of fucking either putting it as a display or using it for soup. That's how big the cup is. The fact that it has something in it does not help its case. At no point should there ever be a thing inside the middle of the goddamn cup. It should be empty. I get it. It's novelty. It looks cool. I'm not going to deny that, but it's just not my thing. It doesn't mesh well with everything that's in here because you got too many good horror franchises mixed in with a TV show, which, given for a scary franchise of zombies, it's good. It's been out there for quite a while, but it does not go well with Scream. It does not go with Ash vs. Evil Dead. It doesn't go with The Thing. It doesn't go with Hellraiser. It doesn't go with Full Moon Entertainment stuff. It just feels out of place. And because it feels out of place, I have to give it a 9. Everything in here is all good quality. It hits the mark. If it was just all about quality, it hits 10s. But this will be the first 9 I give it because The Walking Dead does not need to be in this crate. You could have taken this one right out, straight up. Even how cool this item is, you took it out. If it was gone, and you had all this, that's a 10. That's a 10. I would have been just as happy with that. I don't need this. Now, that doesn't mean that this is bad. Doesn't mean that the mug is not something I don't want, It just means it didn't need to be a part of it. I'm not saying like this is the worst item because this is by far the best item in terms of Walking Dead stuff I've gotten from Loot Crate ever. But it didn't need to be a part of it. It just didn't. Overall, it's a 9. You can make the case it goes 9.5. I'll give it to up to there, but it's not quite a 10 for me, and that's because zombies don't feel like horror anymore. They don't, and this is supposed to be horror themed. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. I'm sorry about my voice. I'll hopefully get better before the next video, which should be either gaming or anime. Speaking about gaming, that video, I did have it recorded. I just completely forgot. I've been so busy with a lot of things lately that I have not had time to upload it. And whenever I get home, I just kind of just want to relax, play my games because, well, it's the month of October. We're getting closer to November, and games are coming out everywhere. I had Return to Arkham. I had WWE 2K17. I have Rise of the Tomb Raider. I have Bioshock. I have all these games that are coming out left and right. And not to mention, I still got 2 more games coming out next week that I've pre-ordered, which is World of Final Fantasy and Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse 2. I have this game for my 3DS, Dragon Quest VII, Fragments of the Forgotten Past, that I have yet to play. I have so many games that are coming out that my time's been taken up and consumed by that. Not to mention, I recently got PlayStation VR. So it's just constant left and right. This whole month has been kind of that busy, and I still have Halloween to worry about. I have Gears of War 4 to play, which I'll probably play that on Halloween night because I gotta sit in the living room while I wait for trick-or-treaters. It's been hectic. So you gotta give me some time to kind of get settled down before I can upload very many videos. Hopefully you'll get this one up maybe tomorrow, which at this point, like today is Saturday, you might get it Sunday. You might get it Monday. It depends when I have the time and everything. Because I know tomorrow night I got football to watch, which my football game that I watch won't be on till Sunday night, so you'll probably have it by Sunday afternoon or something like that. So Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, comment, subscribe down below if you enjoyed the video. Please give feedback if you think there is anything wrong with this. Understandably, you gotta understand that my voice is really shot because of I'm sick. I'm literally got a sore throat, and I know I'm gonna get a cold later this week. It's gonna continue, and I'm just have to go through the whole motions of dealing with that. And usually, I get sick around these time of months. That being said, uh, I'll try to be as vocal as I can. If I am too sick to do the Loot Crate anime stuff, I'll let you know. I'll put up a video and say, hey, I cannot legitimately do this. Not yet, but I will give you my review later on when I can. Stuff like that. I'll let you know. This cold came at a very bad time. Okay, so like I was hoping that if I got a cold, it would be November, like the start of it, not like the end of October when there's so many things going to be coming up. So yeah. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you all in the next one whenever that comes out. So, see you later.